Welcome to this portion of the new faculty and staff onboarding Insight School of Washington. Today we're going to review the Insight School level onboarding. So this onboarding will review your access to the school level platforms and introduce you to the initial training that you will need to complete during your onboarding here at Insight. We will review your access to the learning management system, and you will see a screen of what you should expect to see when you log in based on what your account is. We'll talk about how to access your school email and confirm what your school email address is. We'll walk you through the steps of how to request Outlook configuration on your school laptop, how to create email signatures, how to add profile pictures, your training account access, collaboration resources that are available to you as an Insight faculty member. For teachers, we'll touch base on the eval application request needed for teacher evaluations. And then we will also review what to expect in terms of our teacher certification database. This is not meant to be a comprehensive overview of all the accounts that you will need during your time at Insight, but it is meant to show you what accounts you should have access to initially. And you will receive additional information as you continue onboarding and induction for any future accounts you'll need, such as Skyward or accounts related to state testing. So these are really accounts that you'll need to get started here at Insight. Okay, so let's talk about the learning management system. And hopefully you all have received your username and password from your direct administrator. This is the link that you will use to access the learning management system. It's login-learn.k12.com. And this learning management system, it is a group of various platforms. So within the learning management system, we're going to spend the rest of the onboarding in future days looking at each of these platforms that make up the learning management system. But for today, we just want to make sure that you have access to it and that everything looks like it should for your account. So let me show you first what the teacher landing page looks like when you log in. So if you have a teacher account, you should have the purple sidebar. This picture changes from time to time. And you should, it may take a second for this envelope to populate, but you should have access to email. And then you'll see links, which will dive in a little bit more deeply in future onboarding sessions. But for now, if you are seeing this and you have a teacher account, that's great. If you are a counselor or a coordinator and you have an admin account, this is what your landing page will look like. It will look a little different when you log into the learning management system. So for admin coordinator accounts, you are taken directly to what we call the OLS. So if you do not see the same landing page here that we looked at for teachers, that's totally normal. So teachers, this is yours. Coordinators, admin, this is what your landing page will look like. Access to school email, your Insight school email specifically. This is the address that you should note for the school email. You can notice it's not at k12.com. It is slightly longer. It's at k12insightwa.org. This is the account that you will use with students, families, at the school level, collaborating with teachers and staff. And you can access your school email in two different ways. Similarly to your k12.com email, you can also access your school email by logging into the Office portal. But remember to use a different browser than you usually use for the k12.com email. You want to keep the browsers and everything separate between what you use to access K12, Stride, platforms, and what you use for the school level. That will just keep things cleaner for you and will prevent any login issues if they try to overlap each other. So definitely bookmark the portal and you can access your school email online this way. And you can also access your school email within the learning management system. So let's return to what the teachers see. Here is the envelope here. And again, it may take it a second to populate. Click on that if you just want to confirm what your email address is. You'll be prompted to log into the portal through that, and you can see, and it will say ISWA teacher. I have multiple accounts, so that's why you see different options for me. So you can see what your address is here if you aren't aware of what it is yet. So that will be your school address. And when you log into the portal, that will be the address you need to use. So it's a little, you know, for logging into the LMS, you have a very different username. But the password for all of these will be the same for your school accounts. So we'll talk more about that in a minute. Coordinators, admins, if you need to note what your school email address is, if you're not aware of what it is yet, you have a little bit, you have more steps to take. So you'll go to Total View School, and this will pop up. This is what Total View School landing page looks like. And then go to Inbox. This is where you'll have Inbox. And similarly to the teacher landing pages, you'll also see what your coordinator admin email address will be. And so it is important to remember that the password that you receive for your learning management system is linked to your school email and Office portal password. So those will always share the same password. So if you ever update your learning management system password, it will automatically update that portal email password as well for your school accounts. So the password is linked and the password will always be the same across those accounts. And this is just for your reference. We looked at this in the video here, but again, highly recommend that you save this PDF within this playlist, and this will show you the screenshots of how to make it back to the email. Now we do request that you have Outlook configured on your laptop as well. So the email access that we just looked at is the online access. So you can use, you know, a web browser to access email, but you also want to have Outlook configured on your actual laptop. So you'll be able to access it without logging in online. And to do that, you will need your school laptop delivered. And you will also need to have your Stride K-12 email username and password and your Insight School of Washington email and password to have both of these accounts configured in Outlook on your desktop. So once you have these three things lined up, please submit a technology help request ticket for this configuration. And I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. Please also note that school email at Outlook cannot be configured on any personal computers. And what you can expect once you submit the help request ticket is that a Stride technician on the technology team will call you by phone. So you'll submit the phone number in the ticket that you would like to be reached at, and they will call you, and you'll need to be at your laptop in order for this request to be completed. The technician will remote into your school laptop while you are logged in. And then they will ask you to enter your username and passwords, and they will complete the configuration while they're on the phone with you and remote it into your computer. So just keep that in mind that to complete this configuration step, you need your school laptop, you need your K-12 email username and password, your school email username and password, and then to be ready to be at your computer to support the technician in setting this up for you. The response time is usually within 1 workday. So if you submit in the morning, you can probably expect a phone call by the end of the day, the same day. If you submit this request towards like the afternoon, after lunch, you probably won't receive a call back until the next day. And this is what you can expect as far as submitting the Outlook configuration request. So there is a link, and let's go ahead and walk through what this site looks like. You should see K-12 Regional Support Help, and you will scroll down, and this is where you will enter your school information. And here's what you need to know here is for category, you will select email, and subcategory will be configure setup. And so they'll walk you through all the setup for Outlook on your desktop computer. And again, this is saved in the PDF file for your reference. Okay, and these next steps are really just a reminder for you to, finish completing your profiles. So most of you probably already know how to create email signatures. But once Outlook is configured, you'll easily be able to create your signatures in addition to adding profile pictures to your email accounts. And you can reference these steps when you're ready for that. And you do have 2 different accounts at least. You should have the K-12 Stride account, and there is a signature template for the Stride K-12 company account in the Faculty Lab Binder under the Stride Human Resources tab. So you can refer to that to create your Stride K-12 signature. And then for the Insight signature, we don't have an official template, but you're more than welcome to use this one that's commonly used. You can see that you would list your name, your role, your school phone number, and once you get your phone extension, your school email address. There is an Insight logo here. And then we definitely want you to include this confidentiality notice at the in your email signatures, and you can refer back to this when you are ready to make your signature, and it will also be available for you in the Lab Binder. Similarly, you can add profile pictures to your email account profiles, and to do that, you'll open Outlook on your desktop. You'll go to File, you'll click Account Information, and you should be prompted to be able to upload a picture of your choice. Make sure it's school appropriate, of course, and then just keep in mind, that once you have Outlook configured, you'll have both of your accounts readily available, and you can drop down. And if you want to do separate profiles, pictures for each account, you can do that. The next item here for school level onboarding are the initial training accounts you will need. And we will review the training plans more in depth during our orientation sessions and in future learning modules of this playlist. But for now, it is really confirming your access to these sites. So k12training.com. This is going to be the primary site where you complete the Stride assigned training modules, more specifically designed for your school role and the school platforms that you'll need to use. And your access instructions, these are emailed to your school email account. And we will do more of a deep dive into this in future modules in our live sessions. The second initial training site that you'll need to access during onboarding is Safe Schools. And the link is provided here. It's also, both of these links are also, they should be in the document that you received from your direct administrator. And this is the site that contains training modules that are annually required in the state of Washington. So this is a very common training site that if you have worked in a Washington school previously, you're probably familiar with Safe Schools. And to access the site for Insight, you will enter your school email address and no password is required. So number 7, this list of collaboration resources is just to give you an idea of the different, of the main platforms that we use for collaboration. So obviously we use email. Microsoft Teams is also widely used across the school. And this comes installed on your school laptop. And so if you open that, please use your school email credentials to log in. And so you'll have access to chat or even department team notebooks and pages within Microsoft Office Teams. So that's a really widely used one. So I would highly recommend getting set up on that. Skype for Business is also used. And this is primarily for instant messaging. And this also comes installed on your school laptop. And again, you would use your school email credentials to log into this platform. Lastly, Office Portal is used to share documents. There are different applications within the Office Portal that you do need to familiarize yourself with. So as a faculty member here at Insight, you need to use the school accounts when you are creating curriculum and documents. When you start working with your PLC, you need to use the school assigned portal for saving all of those files. So please do not use any personal accounts. Don't use any personal, Gmail or Google Drive platforms for anything school related. And there's also a school SharePoint site that we will look at in just a moment, and you'll be prompted to follow that. So let's review the email policy at Insight. So staff are responsible for checking both Stride and Insight email accounts each school day. Some staff, such as counselors or coordinators, may have 3 accounts. You may have an Insight teacher email in addition to an admin email at the school level. And so if this is your situation, you can definitely create an auto response on one of the email accounts. If there's one primary email that you want to monitor and use, then please set up an auto response on the email account that you do not plan to use that sends or directs the sender to your primary email address. Please note that all Insight staff are expected to respond to email within 1 school day. Okay, so that excludes weekends, holidays, things of that nature. But within 1 school day, please respond to all email messages. And all notifications from Stride regarding benefits, payroll, any company level training are sent to your K-12 email address only. So you will not receive any school level information to your K12.com email address. That is primarily used as your corporate employee email that you'll receive information from Stride. So let's move on to the Insight SharePoint site. And for now, the main thing that you are doing is just making sure that you have access to it and selecting follow. At this time, you do not need to do anything official with the site. So within the portal, log in with your school email, and then you will navigate to this browser. This is the SharePoint site link, and this is what you should see. And you will select follow, this follow. Not the follow for the browser, but the follow for the actual site. So make sure you select the star that you see on the page. All right. Step number 8, this applies to teachers. So we do use something called the eval application, and this is what we use to complete your teacher evaluations annually. And so you will need access to this site, and we will be doing some professional development sessions around this in August. So please do this today. You should log into your EDS portal. So all certificated staff in the state of Washington, you have personal EDS accounts. And this is the link. So you will need to work through the password options on your side of things to retrieve or update your information if you have any access issues. Because again, this is your personal EDS account that is provided by OSPI. And in the next Play Pause It module, this is for teachers only. It walks you through how to access, how to request the Insight Eval application within this EDS portal. So please do that as soon as possible. And then lastly, for teachers, putting this on your radar, we do have a teacher certification database. This ensures that all certificated teachers are assigned to the appropriate classes each term based on whatever you're certified to teach. So soon, whenever you begin working with students in an actual class, so upon the first day of class with students, you will receive an email with instructions on how to provide your certificate information into this database. The link to the site and the instructions will be provided in that email. So there are no action steps to take at this time, but we just don't want you to be surprised, on the first, week if you receive this request to provide your certificate information. So this concludes the school level onboarding. So hopefully you have access to the learning management system. You know what your school email address is. You know your next steps for requesting Outlook configuration on your laptop. You are ready to create email signatures for all of your accounts, K-12 Stride and school level account. You can add profile pictures within those accounts as well. We will be diving into your upcoming onboarding training in K12training.com and Safe Schools, and you should have access to those accounts. You are aware of the collaboration resources that we use. You are aware of the email policy at this point, and teachers, you are aware that you need to request the eval application, and you are ready to put your teacher certificate information in once students start back. So that is all for now. Thank you for reviewing this resource.